Question 16. Last month, Salim used his car to travel 1,000 miles, correct to the nearest 100 miles. He used 26 gallons of petrol, correct to the nearest gallon. Calculate the least and greatest possible values for the number of miles travelled per gallon by his car last month. Okay, so we've got a boundary value question here. You can see here because it's measured to the nearest 100. Now, what we need here is just to get the greatest really and least values. I would do that to start with. We've got 1,000 miles. It is measured to the nearest 100. So on our scale, because it's measured to the nearest 100, our scale is going up in hundreds. Okay, so if we've got 1,000 on our scale, the next one would be 1,100, and the one before it would be 100 back. So that'll be 900. Okay, so we've got then. That's our scale. It's rounded to 1,000, so we can actually work out what our greatest is. Okay, so our greatest is here, 1,050, and we can work out what our least is, 950. All right, and we could use these later on. If we look at the amount of petrol, and that's gallons. It's measured to the nearest gallons. We're going up in ones here. Okay, so we can see then that the greatest is going to be 26.5. The least is going to be 25.5. All right. Now to work out then how many gallons you get, or sorry, how many miles that are travelled per gallon, right? We just need to consider the fact that he's travelled around 1,000 miles. He's used 26 gallons of petrol, so we need to see how many miles for each gallon. So we're going to need to divide here. All right, divide to see how many 26s basically go into 1,000 to see how many miles you get per gallon. However, of course in this case we've got to consider the boundary values. So to get the greatest, okay, miles per gallon, okay, we're going to look at what we're going to divide here, okay, in terms of boundary values. So to get the greatest, right, you need to consider the greatest distance. Okay, that's what I would be thinking, because to get the greatest miles per gallon, okay, so in other words, you're getting more distance, right, per gallon, then you need to choose the greatest distance. Okay, but of course then, when you're dividing by the number of gallons, to actually get the biggest possible answer, we need to divide by the smallest. Okay, now I've seen some people writing it like this and also put in explanations. They say the greatest on the top, greatest distance, divide by the least gallons. Okay, so I've seen that written, and that sort of thing might help you then to work out what values go here, right? So to get the greatest fraction, you need the biggest on the top, smallest on the bottom. So I work that out. Okay, it comes to 41. Now bear in mind it says to one decimal place, so 41.2. Okay, miles per gallon. And then if we do the least miles per gallon, to get the least miles per gallon, then of course you want to look at the shortest distance, which is 950. Okay, so the least distance. And to make this answer as small as possible, we need to divide the least distance by the greatest value on the bottom. So the smallest number on the top, biggest number on the bottom. Greatest gallons. Okay, that will give you the least fraction answer. So you get 35.8 to one decimal place. So that'll be miles per gallon. So greatest in here then the bottom, 41.2, least here 35.8. We've got our answer.